Should be working. It's showing up, yeah. Apparently I've got that on. Ah, that was on extreme with your headphones. Oh well. Everything does appear to be working on the stream though, so just pause that so it doesn't take up all my bandwidth. Open up OBS, which you can't see, but have that on top of a browser so I can actually kind of see it's streaming all the audio correctly. And then uncover one ear so I can actually hear vaguely what's going on. Yeah. So we'll go to city maybe, Brixton, I don't know. It looks like it's been updated from this image. There has been an update, and it's supposedly brought steering wheels among other things, which I'm quite excited to try out. I'm also on a Powerline Ethernet connection now, which should actually give me a semi-decent connection. It appears to be the case. I mean, I could probably turn up the bandwidth a bit more, but I'm not willing to take that kind of chance. As long as it's running is the key thing. So, open. Here we have what I've done. I wanted to do it in the last stream. I also wanted to get the camera on it, but I couldn't. Though I did make quite good progress. Here you'll see we have the car. You might wonder what those white bits are. Well, watch this. Yes, I got the fan working. There's also a working drive shaft. You might not see it, but there we go. It does move with the car. And there is our legally required quad headlight setup. Is that a bit... Oh, no, I think... Oh, yeah, that's because I'm going to have a strip of chrome there. I've kind of not completely built the whole thing up yet. The engine is in here. And I have dualies front and rear, yeah. It was the best size wheel for the car, which is in itself a massive boat of a thing. Let's go to the interior. You'll see I've got a nice wood-trimmed dashboard. Yeah, it's good to be back to playing this game. Remember, this car is nowhere near finished, though. I did set drive to the back where there is currently not much weight at all. The handling will get better there eventually, but I do need to send some drive to do that. So we're going to go to enter the editor and open my vehicle, which is here. There's some bits here and there. Yeah, this vehicle was just something to basically show me how the bricks are for weight. I think wood is lighter than foam. Yeah, that's foam there. And then we have plastic. Don't know if that is plastic. Yeah, which is below the wood. There is actually also... It looks kind of grainy on here because it's a 4K monitor I'm using and I've just set it to 1080p. But yeah, there is actually that, which is a smaller seat. That has been added in the update. Steering wheels. Let's see what these steering wheels amount to. So, we've got this one. Clearly it's not a lot, but it looks like it's just a bit more than what we had before. That's one. Then we've got this one, which is a bit bigger. Probably better suited to this vehicle in general. We could make it out of wood. That would make it match the dashboard a bit better, should I say. Mind you, it's very unusual. I know making it out of what would be matching body colour would not be that unusual. It would just be like a metal steering wheel on an older car. So that would be somewhat period correct. Ooh. And we also have to sort the tail end out. Like, how long am I going to have this? If we look here, we'll see we'll have a space of, I think, about 4, is it, pieces? In fact, why not sort this piece out now? That should save a bit of effort in the long run. Go and get the scalable. Tilt this around. I did some fancy stuff with the scalables to get that chrome strip on it as it is. I am going to need to work this interior out a bit more though. In fact, I do wonder. Maybe this would work. It sounds crazy. I've also used, chrome there and then beneath it like another blue triangle to achieve something. So I'm just going to, for now, reuse this front piece. Because I really think I might be onto something with this idea. But I have to get it working. So is that attached? No, it's not. Sometimes it's hard to tell where exactly the pieces are. You know. But that's about as well attached as it needs to be for the proof of concept we've got here. And it does work, because you'll see the wood goes round like that. So it does show as I would like it to do so. I just don't want to eat into the interior space too much. That's the only issue we've got here. And I mean, sure, that's like the wooden dashboard part, so that's fine. But I'm going to have to add some other materials lower down. As I was doing this, though. Yeah, there's the fancy fan I've come up with. It's not as fancy when you look at it. It's just like a spinning piece on a wheel axle, which is always going to eat away at power I could have used elsewhere, but you know, I've got to make some concessions to the cause. Do I want that to be wider? Sure. Maybe, I don't know. Let's just go with let's just go with 1 then. As it comes. So again, I don't think I mounted that properly. No, I have not. Almost, but not quite in there as it's supposed to be. So then we'll go modify, duplicate. Theoretically, this should give me a neat piece there. Yeah, so they join in the middle as they should. And that gives me quite a solid attachment. Almost. Yeah, that one is too far out. But we fixed it now. I would like to say I could do something about that. And I actually believe I can. So I'm going to go with this scalable brick because it doesn't stick out as much. Also, I know those turn indicators are sharp, but there's only so much you can do. The indicators are sharp, and I know that would probably not pass legal standards, even in the 1950s. But I can't do everything, because otherwise it just ends up getting a bit too big. Now that does fit in there quite well. So I would say what I'm going to do here is put some chrome there, but chrome would just look out of place, truth be told, on this exact part of a car. What we've got to do is duplicate this on the other side. That should be first and foremost. A very easy task to do though, if I can find where I'm trying to duplicate it to. 10 minutes in already, I mean, I don't know, where's the time going? So again, we've got to make sure we mount these correctly. I feel like just sitting where they are, they'll be fine. And I've got to remember it is missing a piece of trim that's on the other side, so even though that might look lower, it's actually symmetrical. It's just the other bits are not symmetrical. Is there anywhere for this to mount to? I think there might be. Yeah, it can mount to that lower piece. So, here we have the front end looking a lot more finished than it did. But in the case of this vehicle, it's going to need the exact rear overhang sorting. I think the ladder has it almost correct, just in how it sits. But there's always going to be other bits that need finishing. So we've got to modify, duplicate. I think we have two pieces here I can use on the back. I just have to rotate them. Not that way. Yes, this way. So if I rotate that this way, what I could do, I could actually extend these outwards a little, because we are no longer talking about the same amount of overhang. Like on the front, sure, that was the right amount of overhang, at least I believe so. Not a lot of overhang, but enough. I actually do want an opening bonnet here as well, in case I haven't said. So I'm going to have to find some way of tying this whole design together. I think if I want the opening bonnet, I'll actually have to have these wider. I should have thought this all sooner, you know. But there isn't a whole lot of space, is there? The only issue is I've got, like, the fan, and it looks straight into the car there if we look behind the headlights. I don't want it to be looking like I've just padded it out for no reason. Here I have these slopes. Wait, is one of them like a different material? Because that wouldn't do for balance. So we've got plastic and copper. Oh, there we go. Well, we want copper here as well, because copper is heavier than plastic. And we do want the heavier materials to sit low down on the chassis, as they will weigh it down. And having that car weighed down from the lower point will make it handle better. Now, there may be a case where you don't want it to handle better, but in this case I do, especially since it's very low and very wide. You would naturally expect it to handle at least halfway decently, even if it was constructed on 1950s suspension technologies. And I mean, even back then, being a more luxurious car, it would have had independent front suspension, so yes, we are just going to hide that engine bay away for now. Make things easier on ourselves. So, you Suri, can go and extend outwards. 2, 3, 4. I think 4 seems about correct. If we look here, though, we've got like 2. And then one of those 2 is the bumper. I think actually more than one of them is just the bumper. There's that though as well, I guess. But still, we're doing this because naturally, regardless of nation, you do want a good handling car, and this is how you do it. So I think what we're going to do, because of the exhausts, we're going to have a scalable piece Now, I don't want to mess with the slope too much, so I'm going to have to make it smaller, I think, in this one direction. There we go. Oh wait, is that a bit taller than I'm thinking? Maybe to contain the thing. Just double check it matches that. It's fine if it does. Yeah, 1 1/3. So it does match that. It was always a bit taller. And is that made of? Yes, it is made of copper. So I made that of copper as well, I think. Now here's the thing. I didn't just use blue on the copper though. I used a different colour slightly. So yeah, 233. That one is copper. That one is copper, but I've got it on 240. I just slightly adjusted it so it matched the plastic a bit better. So we'll go 233 there. Even though that's meant to all match now, it still kind of doesn't. Anyway, so what have we got here? We're going to have something just to tie it up. So I think we can do this. There we go. Make this smaller in 2 directions, but leave one of them really compact. And that is yeah, too long there. How that happened, I don't know. But there we go. So that should level out now. Speaking of the matter, we'll go modify duplicate, and this is where we can start forming our other piece from. So go to 4, come on. I just didn't want to drag my hand too much and end up messing the whole thing up. Then we go 1 1/3. Come on, why won't you attach to it? That's possibly because I'm not trying to. I ended up trying to attach it to the complete wrong thing. Anyway, have I easily given it enough space for the exhaust? Best I save. I could maybe do some fancy stuff like chrome exhaust tips, you know. So we've got a vehicle. Should be under here. I would think it is at least. Chrome exhaust. Isn't that something? Okay. I've actually done that too deep, but maybe I can make this work for me. Just maybe. So if I have a length of a pipe that like twists round there, naturally I think I'll go and finish off a few of these bumpers first before going on to that. And that's flickering okay. I don't want to have a seizure. But why is it flickering? That's the question. I mean, I'm trying to sort that out because reasons. Is that why? I think that might be it actually. I don't know, Control Z, shortcut keys because I can't remember where in the menus it is. Now that is all structural. What I do with it, I don't know, but it's structural, so I might have to find something else to do. Worst case, I make it copper, which is still quite stiff, but that is made of gold. This entire chassis, contrary to how it might look, is made of gold. And I did that because gold is very heavy, and thus weight in this game equates to stiffness. And naturally, I want the car to be stiff. So you can go and plough through zombies with it. It is lower than other muscle cars I have built in the past, and that makes it look so much better. But it might not help with the zombies getting on the bonnet. We've got to bear that stuff in mind. Also, this seat isn't the final one, but the new seats look awfully appealing, I must say. Because I can put those seats in and just bury them beneath a load of plastic or fabric. I actually got a view at some point, but they tuned out. I probably scared them off. Anyway, you know, going round my stream. Okay. So that is part of a ladder frame. I'm just thinking, should I shorten the ladder? Because the ladder is clearly not really helping. That's just the back. Right, so I might have to shorten it, but not the whole way. This is going to have to... I don't know. So it has to add up to 10. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the error in my ways is this. Selection, select recursively connected. This will allow me to just drag that wire across and attach it where it should be. So it really should, I think, fit like quite well actually. 1, 2, 3. Ah, I see. So forget the recursively connected for now. That individual piece does need somewhere to connect to. Now, this entire axle needs a bit of redoing. It doesn't need a whole load of it though. Especially since we're going to be attaching it to a copper kind of bumper bar. Would you call it bumper bar? Beneath actual bumper. Copper bodywork, I guess you could call it. So we've got to shorten this. I don't know by how much. I'll start by taking 3 blocks off it. So that is 21. And then I can line it up naturally with the other one and see where it sits. So I think 21 sits about right. It sits to the rear axle. And then it's probably easier actually to just copy that one instead of making a new one, you know. Modify, duplicate. This was the other thing. I was thinking of adding some gold but making it black. That's to say, you would still have chassis there, but it would make it stiffer and heavier, therefore stiffer. And I don't know why. Do I have a chrome piece here? Oh, I get it now. So this is like an extra chrome strip. It might look a bit odd from below, but if you go and look at it from above, it actually does just look like an extra trim piece of chrome. So I think we can deal with that. But anyway, above all else, the underside adding chrome and such, that can be done later. First things first, I think we need to duplicate these pieces. Because again, luckily the stance of it... Oh dear, I don't want to join any teams yet. And apparently my controls are like inverted or something really weird. There we go. At least they've added this handy dandy arrow to tell me where my car is. So we've got to do this. And we'll go modify, duplicate that again. And I'm just thinking, do they actually line up with the... Close enough. I don't know. That is not good though, is it? How does that one line up? Yeah, again, it's the same. I don't know what to say about that. I'm not sure I can do anything about it. I think it's a small enough thing that it can just pass. They can just pass by, but I don't like it. You know, I don't like it one bit. The only other way, I mean, is to axe some chrome trim, which I actually quite want on the car. There we go. So now we're beginning to see things like where the interior limits will be a bit better. We're not building an estate. It's going to have a set of fins on the back. Being a late 50s car. And yeah, these front steel beamed headlights, they were regulatory at the time. So that's why a lot of cars used it. It allowed single ones, but more luxurious cars always had dual. Probably because they wanted it to look more luxurious and have those extra features and such. Such luxury extra headlights. And where are we? So that can go... Is this... Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was exactly 21, so I could line it up as I would be requiring to. We'll go... Oh dear. Smoky exhaust. So I think... If I go and sort this out, maybe... We've got to change this to... modify that. It's okay as it is, but we want more. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because 10 is supposed to be like the maximum total width of a car. Maybe a bit more with the mirrors, but without the mirrors, 10. Although the mirrors, I don't know, there's enough space to fit them on there without widening the car particularly. So we'll go modify, duplicate. There's probably a hotkey for it, but this is working for now. And that is our piece of bodywork as it stands. Now, that will have naturally been that one. So this will have to be this one. it just makes it more convenient, honestly, if I use a piece that I've already used on the front, on the back, but stretch it and transmogrify it into what I want. So there we go. We've got 4 there. Selection. Where is it? Recursively. There we go. So I do want to create something European, I'm not going to lie though, because I've been working on this for so long that I could be taking a break and do that. Although there's a few things I would like to finish on this before I get started on some kind of such project. So we've got that. I think what we need is... we need a... what happened to my voice there? We need a pair of plastic scalables to fill in these side portions. Now, gonna just for now finish off on this vehicle. I will be coming back to it eventually, but I just want to work on something different, if I'm honest. Something 70s and European. Somewhat like a Ford Escort, but I don't know. It goes whichever way it goes. That's how my projects are. I just don't confine them particularly. They evolve and go whichever way I feel like making them go. So there we go. That is copper, but we want plastic here. Just because there is still a slight difference in the actual material, as you'll see. It won't be too noticeable if I have it sort of like a two-tone, but otherwise it becomes noticeable. So there we go. I am really beginning to like what I'm doing though, with the overall like form and shape of this. There we go. I think it's at yep, plastic. Huh, it's interesting, it looks like the colours almost invert as the lighting changes between the copper and the plastic. And the final thing I want to do on this vehicle is chrome exhausts. Or maybe one exhaust, and depending on if I can get the smoke working as I desire. So we've got smoke. I think we want it to be slightly brownish. Green maybe if you're running on biodiesel. But it's not a diesel. I mean, we're not making this Cuban. Smoke density, I mean, again, these cars are quite polluting, so I think grey smoke is reasonable enough, but how about 6? And then we'll go 45. So 25. We'll go make that, change the colour to nothingness. We'll make it chrome, which is actually pretty heavy. As heavy as steel, I believe. Which is, I think, if we look at this, steel is, so what's that? Ah, that's copper, but it's blue for some reason. But steel is a bit lighter than copper, surprisingly enough. So I guess it's not too bad for where it's positioned in the chassis, but it is not a light material. We'll go hopefully find a piece which can allow us to twist. There we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Sadly, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere way over here. So we've got G. Now, I could move the exhaust way out, or I could leave it in and like have it fairly inboard to the car, which I kind of like as an idea, actually. It's not a muscle car after all. It is a large American vehicle with a V8, but it is not a muscle car, because there is quite a key difference. Certain engine versions, perhaps you could call a muscle car, but this has got a small V8. It's not got like the drag engine or anything crazy. I couldn't fit the drag engine in. I mean, I did what I could fit in the car. It's just the regular V8, because that's about the best thing I could fit. Now, I'm apparently very terrible at turning these. So, don't know. I've got, apparently 4 people have joined and none of them have stayed. Am I that scary? There we are. So that should, for now, be our American finned thing. I may well move those exhausts out later, but for the time, it's definitely a start. Although they do look at a wonk, don't they? Problem solved. It's no longer a problem. They are in the same positions now. Yeah, just thinking, like, where does it go? Because that does slowly raise up. So fair enough if I have that there, but yeah, I think if I have that, like, there, it might actually work quite well. Because it's not sticking them right out of the car, but it's... Oh dear. I mean, I don't know, maybe people are joining expecting me to be building less detailed stuff, but I just go into such insane detail. Unnecessary levels of detail. I think that's where it needs to sit. Everything looks like it fits in correctly. So we'll go and save. We're going to go and create our European thing now. So we can just exit with this vehicle then and see our changes, since it is at least drivable in its current state, even if it's not very well balanced or anything. Mind you, there is more weight on the back. You'll see that's what it used to be. Functional, but nowhere near as finished as it is now. We've done a bit of polishing. There's the cliff. I think cliff drop, whatever you call it. I think we'll go down there actually and see just how resilient this thing is. From what I remember, playing with this before, the roll cage type thing does protect you quite well. So loop back here and let's just throw it down. Oop. I think the wall took more damage than my car there. Ooh, what's happening with these aerodynamics? Non-existent aerodynamics. I've still got all my wheels. This is ridiculous. How does it still drive so well? Oh, there's my fan as well. I added. And my drive shaft is my drive shaft is still functioning, I believe. Hard to tell. Yep, my drive shaft works. Okay, I threw it down a hole and my chassis is that stiff apparently. Maybe too stiff. We'll go and find a garage anyway. So, into editor. I made the interface pink as well, because I felt like it. So, what have we got to do? So, for a Euro car, we're going to make it a lot smaller, especially for a compact Euro car, such as a Ford Escort. Or, I don't know, there's also Japanese ones, I guess you could say, which are similar. I know there was a Datsun 510, it's a similar kind of vehicle. Just a compact, slightly sporty car. Now, I don't think body on frame would work. Generally through the 60s and sometimes even in the 50s, European cars were just not body on frame. They were unitary. The Mini is one perfect example. Came out in 1959. It had a unitary chassis, like all in one. So we won't be creating a ladder like I did with the American vehicle. We'll be creating something light. Also, I don't know. I think the very basis of the unitary can be gold, which is the heaviest material in the game and most likely the strongest. But then I will lighten it up quite significantly from that point. So we'll go, what material colour do we want? I made the last one blue. I know it's my Core 2 Duo colour, but hey, let's celebrate the new interface colour on the game by painting it pink. Actually, now I'm thinking about it though, as I say, a unitary construction, it's likely to be more of an all-in-one. So we're going to go change the width, make it 5 1/3. There's a good reason why I am making it this narrow. It seems absurdly narrow, but it is with reason as to why it is this narrow. So there we go. And then we'll go make this copper, because copper you can make work in two-tone and it still looks decent. Whereas we'll still make it small in these respects. So that's gonna kind of sheathe this gold plate, which will keep the centre of gravity somewhat low and make sure that it does its job. So we've got to find some wheels now. We're going to use smaller wheels than my American car. This is not an American car. And we're going to... Ooh. Now, in terms of being a modified vehicle, these wheels would do a pretty good job. Just because they're the right kind of width to work with, but like bigger wheels. However, I'm going for something a bit more stock looking. So those wheels are just maybe even a bit too narrow. They look like cart wheels, but cart and buggy wheels. Those are too tiny, just too tiny. So we're going to go maybe find something. Maybe they just look tiny because I'm spawning them so far away. And I don't want to join a team yet. My stream is apparently excellent condition, which is good to hear. So, how do these look? You know what? They're not too bad. They're a little on the wider side than I think you would ever see back then. And the wheels are a bit small, so that, yeah. If it had tighter tyres, smaller tyres, they would maybe do the job. Now this, I said, were tiny. I think they might be the closest to just good, ordinary road tyres for this sort of vehicle that we can possibly get. I can't help but think, though, this car is still too big. Because, after all, I have been presented with a good opportunity to make something properly tiny. Oh, dear. Sorry about that. I clicked off onto my second monitor. And I need to bring OBS up, I feel. It's got my audio leveling on. Yeah, sorry about that. There will be some flickering, but yeah, it will all come back to the game eventually. And we will be able to continue our project. So, seats we need. It's got to be somewhere here. I mean, I know I'm not very good at it, but there we are. They're the small seats, which I think I'll use. Wow, it looks so much bigger on... I do like this new, like, ghost guy. He sits right back, though. It seems more like that's some kind of Formula 1 style seat. So, not what I'm looking for here. It's hard to not decipher, but it's hard to understand just how tiny, oh dear. And things have gone wrong. I'm not even holding an arrow key at this point. I'm just holding the mouse key, and things were jumping. But smashing my keyboard fixed it. Yeah, these people are going to have to be pretty close friends, I think it's safe to say. They're going to have to be pretty close friends if they're to be in this car together. I may be able to get away with doing this much. Like, this is about as far as I can push it. Any more, nothing's just going to fit in the car, so... yeah. You're still going to have to be very close friends with a person next to you, though. So... boop. 1, 2, 3. Boop. 1, 2, 3. I am going to have to change the seats later for ones that are actually correct colour for what I am doing. But, you know, it works currently. I don't know why, though, that will not, like, slot right to the very back of a chassis. There we go. You've finally done it. So we've got to, has it finally done it, though? Oh, I'm so confused. They're not even down where they're meant to be. They're just hovering above. Apparently, I do not know how to operate brickworks. I've just been guessing then this whole time as to where the seats may actually go. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, that makes enough sense to me. You see, this is absolutely tiny, though. It's a completely different challenge to building an American car. Oh, dear. I have lost it. I've just completely lost my project. Arrow, lead me there. I appear to lose my projects a surprising amount in this game. So there we go. Actually, for what constraints it's got, it seems surprisingly spacious. Now, I'm thinking a central rod going up the middle of the car will probably be a good way of stabilising it. But as I said earlier, this is a unitary construction. I don't want to just cheat and basically give it a ladder frame, or not a ladder frame, but something like the Lotus Elise used. I want it to have some level of historical accuracy. So we're going to have a very compact set of frame rails going from the front and back of a chassis, I believe. Or I could have like a single one going from between the rear seats, and I don't know. We're going to have a single one maybe going up from there. How would I fit a drive shaft under? I'm actually thinking of these things, though. I shouldn't be, because sure, in an American car, I have the extra space, but in this, I don't. Everything is just so tight, so tightly packed in to this chassis. So what have we got here, then? We've got, modify, duplicate. I think instead of having a real drive shaft, I might just fake it. Fake it till you make it, you know? We'll go... Yes, so one there. This is going to act as our central point, let's say. And... apparently it doesn't want to sit in the centre, which makes things more difficult. Right, so, I believe, personally, we're not going to have a single centre. We're going to have more of, like, two. And then... Now, knowing me, I've probably not, like, nailed that down properly. No, it's just hovering above nothingness. No surprise I could not get it in the middle. So that, I think, has slotted in where I need it to do so. Modify, duplicate, and then hopefully you can just latch onto this. I do love the scalables. I know it's kind of cheating, but I still like them. We've got everything running well. Good. Everything looks like it's running well on the stream. We've got to find some vehicle axles. That's what I was hoping for. Have I, like, misplaced it or something? I don't know. Oh, well, that would be why. That would actually quite explain a lot. So if we go 3... That's not where the issue is, then. We've got to get something like that. I am using the wrong material. I should really be using the gold for the intense structural elements. Oh, there is tungsten as well. Not quite as heavy as gold, but it does have that more matted look. So I think I'll use tungsten on this particular car. I know it would realistically have a carpet, but the space does not allow it to have a carpet. So, what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3. And that sounds about correct, actually. I know that piece looks like it's off, but it does fit as I would have expected it to, given the length and everything. So I'm going to have a lawnmower engine in this, as I like to call it. Technically, I'm sure it's not a lawnmower engine, but I just like calling it that. Why I'm duplicating this, I don't know. But that's what I'm doing. And apparently I'm going all over here. Okay, well that's actually a bit wider than it should be. Not to worry, I have a cheaty little method of doing things. So we go to this axle. You can actually you get a lot more flexibility by doing this. And I still have my hopes of putting a lawnmower engine in it. They are not dashed by this hindrance. Mind you, some weird chassis rails are there now. So the lawnmower engine will be basically it'll basically sit on one of these in the middle, but adapted to fit in the gap where I have the extra space. There we go. I think I should have at least enough gap for the engine. So what have we done? So where is it? Duplicate. I think we're going to have to invert drive direction to this one. We'll go invert direction, yeah. So that looks like it's going to go scraping the ground, but you can just increase the suspension travel and stiffness. So it's not exactly a concern. What I would like to do on the rear would be non-independent suspension. Then it's actually accurate to the historic cars, but the American car I couldn't do that because it was not practical, and I suspect the same case will be in place here. So we'll go lawnmower engine. Where are you? Where do lawnmower engines like to hide? Ooh, wow, that's a hot engine, if I'd ever seen one. Sadly, I don't think that's going to fit so well. Mind you, it's like, I think that's basically a 4-litre inline 4 or something stupid. It's just not really a practical size, though, for a little tiny vehicle like this. I could actually squeeze a V6 in if I wanted to go truly crazy, but my point is I don't want to make this a crazy modded vehicle. I want this to drive closer to a stock vehicle of its nature. And this engine should provide easily sufficient power for that. Because these were never that heavy. They were never that heavy, but they're never that powerful. Especially if you're talking about the non-sporty versions. So what are we talking about on this? Oh yes. We're going to need some pieces for the what do you call it? There we go. You can go and plop onto there. Oh dear. I've just realised how misfitting that is. It's not fitting at all. So... that is not where I need it to sit. Now my head gets lost. Now my head gets lost in thought. Slide these back a bit. So I think I can see it. It actually looks so distinctly, it just looks so distinctly, how would you say it? The word escapes me. Yeah, just like a simple platform. I don't know. What's... So this is... Oh. Okay. Is that how it's meant to sit? I don't even know anymore. It appears I've built a vehicle with a very odd width to it. It's like 5 2/3 wide. I guess I'll have to deal with that. Because, you know, it's my mistake. Or make it a bit wider, but I don't know. That's not an option to me. So we're going to have I think a copper thing here. If I can find the grey colours. Well, that might actually work, having a plasticky looking black bumper. I wonder. Even though this is copper, it does kind of look like plastic, so go figure there. And the same with this. It might technically be, how would you say it? What's the material? tungsten, you don't really notice when it's that low down on the car, as long as it's the right colour. So we've got that. I think we need maybe just a bit of less height. Maybe that's not good enough. Who knows? I could make this black, but... Oh yeah, you can actually tell the difference between that and the bumper. My thinking is, if I can make this look just like an ordinary kind of grille, then fine. No one's really going to question that. Cars have grills to let cool air in. So I think we have maybe... Yeah, maybe 3 points there, and then shortened one of these. So if I modify duplicate, we'll go make that nothing, modify duplicate mirrored, and these should easily be able to fit as you would expect. I don't want too much discrepancy in the materials though. So we'll go... So we've got 4, is that? I really don't know how wide that is. It's right there, it's 3. So 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that should add up. There we are. That line is consistent now across the... Oh dear, I'm sorry. I don't know why, it just decides sometimes it's going to leap off in the distance. Probably doesn't help that I'm using a mouse that's basically not a gaming mouse. Well, about as far as you can go from a gaming mouse without using something with a PS2 connection. And we do need tungsten just to match, basically. So no one really asks questions. Because I think if it's all this low down, no one is. And that is a block of tungsten. So we'll go with 2 and... We'll go modify, duplicate. I do have a plan here though. It's crazy, but it's going to work, and I can tell. Make that black, make that black. But then we have these pieces. Oh yes, this will make it look even more like an actual lower grille. I mean, as I said before, it is a completely different challenge to building an American car. So I think that's pink, like that colour. It's either that colour or another colour. Yeah, it's a lighter pink. So I could have just modified mirrored, but for some reason my little head didn't think of doing that. Go and make that tiny. And then we've got to fit that. So that is actually a lower vent that looks convincing, I believe. And there's something else I can do, actually. A few of the Escorts did have. Not sure it was very effective at all at doing, well, a whole load of anything, but they did have aerodynamics of sorts. So we're going to go and put some kind of front lip on here. Again, we're going to paint this that way, but I think we're going to go with the copper again, trying to simulate plastic. G to move it up. So what have we got for size? 5 1/3. I don't believe we need that extra third. Well, I don't think that's quite where it needs to be. It needs to be like at the very bottom there. But it doesn't seem to be doing that. Unless... Now, you might think this will cause some flickering, but I believe there is kind of a way out of it. Now, it would, under normal circumstances, this would cause flickering. And it wouldn't be pretty, but if I do that, but put it like backwards, and it does still have attachment points. There we go. Front lip installed. It's going to flicker, but it's going to flicker like back there, where it's not that noticeable, and I am so limited on space that I kind of have to cheat. So we'll go 4 1/3. I do have to just get this working better, though, I believe. So there we are. We want a couple of these. That one's just too long. So modify, duplicate mirrored. That's exactly what I needed. This is not the best front lip I could think of, but it's one that would actually fit in the car, or on the car, should I say. And it's, I guess, historically accurate to a little 70s sports saloon. So where have we got? We've got to go and add some other pieces. got to go and add the scalable piece here. That is 2. I think that's okay. The camera kind of jumped away. Now here is something that's very odd. You kind of have to make it a bit wider than you'd expect, because under any normal circumstances it would be 1, but you have to use 2. And I don't know, I'm just going to duplicate mirrored because it makes things so much easier on me. So modify, duplicate mirrored. You are not duplicating mirrored. Well, there, it's there. It's just duplicated mirrored over there instead of where it should be doing it. Now, just to make sure this is about as seamless as I possibly can, I'm gonna have the switch to the different material somewhere here behind the bumper. Hopefully then the bumper can kind of distract from it. Ooh, shiny. So we have these wheels are like packed in there. Basically, if I can fit pieces in there that do that, surely that's for the better. Right, so there's no engine to mount in the back. What I'm going to have to mount instead is just something that matches this dimensionally. So then we have, well, not matches it completely dimensionally, but hopefully you see my point. The axles are not that big. Hopefully I can get this driving soon. I'd like to drive it. Ooh, they're a bit unsightly, but there's nothing I can do, really. So we'll make this as small as I can, and then raise out that kind of length of it, so to speak. Gives us a nice idea of length. I mean, truth be told, painting it black might not be such a bad idea. It just starts looking like black carpet to an extent. So I you know, it looks kind of like black carpet, which is a better impression, I think, than showing the world it is not in fact carpet and that it is metal, gold even, or tungsten, who knows. I think tungsten actually, not tungsten, sorry, gold actually has a similar texture to the fabric, but naturally it's on the exact opposite end to weight, so I'll use gold but painted black. So I don't know, sorry. I keep clicking on the other monitor and it's not good for my stream because the way I've got this in full screen mode, it just doesn't work. Ah dear. Gotta give things a bit of a smack to get them working again. And now my mouse mat's sliding off the desk. I really don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna just save it. I don't think I saved it yet. I really should have done that. There, it's called the Lord Eskov. The Lord Eskov is now what I am doing. And apparently I don't even want to drive it. Well, hey, it moves under its own power. That's something. And I mean, it's generally quite held together. Despite having not that much space. As I say, you'll have to be really, really comfortable with your passenger. Just get myself a bit closer to the workshop. Owie. Still flying! How much was that impact? Still flying! Where am I? He flew right over there somewhere. I don't know where. So we've got actually 3 garages here. Ah dear, I don't know. It's apparently not saved it. Sometimes it just says unsaved, but it doesn't actually save it as you want it to. It saves it as unsaved, but not the vehicle you've been working on. It's always confusing. So I have lost it yet again. There we go. There we go. Just like any other O's. So, change my headphones a bit because I am uncomfortable with that pressure on one ear where it's not on. I don't know. So we'll go modify duplicate. So this is going to play as reference basically. So it's looking like, well, I would like to say that, but there's some very odd stuff going on with this. I'll have to check underneath. And where is the vehicle? Please, arrows of might, show me where it is, because I have lost it again. I mean, honestly, I just wanted to see under here, and then suddenly the whole vehicle has disappeared. Alright, so it's, again, it's down here, and then it's up there. I'm so trying to just see where the mounting is. very confusing, that. Yeah, that's the front lip flickering because I had to put a front lip on the vehicle, and thankfully I've got an excellent condition stream, so it is working though, at least now on the stream side of things. I mean, this processor is old, so it's a good thing it's keeping up. It's from 2017, and then again, it's so fast, even now, because the Ryzen processors, when they first came out, they're so quick. So even though this is still only a first generation, it's actually quite capable nonetheless. I'm sure the newer ones are far, far better, but without the graphics card, there's only so far you can push the processor. And I mean, I have a 3060 Ti, but it can't do any more than the Ryzen 1700 can provide. And I'm streaming in 1080 as well, which is also another reason why. Because I'm not using 4K or 2K. What was I on about? This. So, modify, duplicate. Yeah, I'm actually thinking, I was thinking of changing that pink piece out, but there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so we've got that and that. Things are beginning to line up now. Now, as I say, the go 1 1/3. So that is 3 and no thirds. So we'll go have 2 of these. So we'll go duplicate that as well, because that beam thing coming up the middle is essentially simulating a drive shaft. Does it match the gold though? Because I put gold in here as it looks, I think, a bit more like carpet than tungsten. No, it's copper. Copper isn't heavy enough to sit that low in the chassis, which is a unitary chassis because you know it's all one unit. But I can have different materials, and I hit my microphone, which is probably not good for anything. I'm sorry. Anyway. So we've got one. And is that? Nope. Now, how much? Okay, so 1 2/3. That is what we need. Perhaps it is. I don't know. I don't even know where I am on the overall kind of construction board. So we can move that forward a bit. This is actually a different vehicle, remember? Not a different vehicle. It's a different end of the vehicle, so... yeah. Different things go on. And stuff. So now we actually have 4 wheels. If I add steering, it will probably drive like a car. Yeah, and naturally, axe drive to these front 2 axles because I do want it to steer as a vehicle should. So I'll try 20 degrees. I don't want too much because I don't want it to flip over when I try and take a corner. And I can't seem to work out where the controls are. There we go. Now, I wonder, so if I go and select these, select by colour, okay, this will paint all of the pink stuff, which I'm, I guess, fine with. So, that is kind of a lighter black. Oh, that makes it look almost rusty on the, what do you call it? Let's go 35 on value. That looks like it would be a 2-tone colour. Then I can actually remove these 2 pieces. They don't have to be like that. So then only these bottom layers are going to be that grey colour. And it'll be a 2-tone sort of layout. So modify, duplicate that. There is a slight difference in the width, so we want 1 there. So make that 2 to match up with this, and then we can go modify, duplicate, all the rest of it. And there we go. Much like the American car, this is going to have more overhang on the back. So it does make me wonder. I think for the time, yes, I'm going to keep that as it is, but there will be a time where I need to actually change it. So as it is, I believe that I will need to add some other pieces. So that's copper. We'll go hopefully find the pieces I need. Because if I don't, I will cry. No, I won't cry. I will just resist crying with all my might. So we'll go. This might seem a little odd, but I do have reason why I'm going to put this here. Because remember, the fuel tank needs to go in the back. Now, the American car had just so much real estate available that you could just lift the fuel tank up a bit. Here, well, you're going to have the fuel tank quite low down. Otherwise, you would really be eating into the already limited boot space. Um, but then it doesn't seem quite right. I do wonder. Maybe a little too much. So... yeah, that won't do it. I need it to kind of go up. But how do I do that? There needs to be something like this exactly. But even so, I'm not so sure it's the correct decision. Oh well, I used it on my full-size American car, so I can use it on this. That's my excuse. Oh dear, I don't appear to know how to rotate a piece. I think that's in place. Or at least somewhat in place. So... sorry about that. Anyway... since that seems to be the wrong direction, pivot it. That's always a solution. So would that pass for what it is? That is grey. Alright, we need copper, don't we? That's why it doesn't quite look right. Not to mention, that is just too long. Sure, a long-tailed American car it might work, but on a little European vehicle, it just won't. It just won't pull it off. Right, so that's going to be a kind of cross beam. This would be where the fuel tank would go, hanging off the back like so. Somewhere there. There we go. So we go modify and duplicate, I would think. Or duplicate inverted, is it? Duplicate mirrored, that would be it. And then, last touch for today would be the scalable pieces here. There we are. Actually, yeah. Now I think about it, as I said, these are a bit funny, and in this particular case, I can take advantage of that. So we're going to put that there, yes. So that can be the 2 out of 3 it needs to be, and then that can be 0. So this will just look a bit smoother, I would think. Alright, so I maybe need to go with 2 or 3 on something else, not that one. Nope, okay. If it's been a bit strange, I just won't bother. Anyway, for now I'm going to finish this up. So, I'll give the car as it stands a bit of a test drive. Save as, unnamed, overwhite, well. Is that definitely, it's just I don't want to destroy my American vehicle, yeah. It shows a picture of an earlier version of this, so I can do that, and it'll be fine. Confirm. Exit with vehicle. Naturally, it's far from the finished version. Oh. I just realised the thing it keeps running over is actually the front lip. But still, it's, on the whole, a pretty stable little vehicle. It says 0 miles per hour. I don't know why the game has just been doing that recently to me. On the other one, I thought it might be because it's got so many points of drive, but this is just 2, as you would expect. There's actually a lot of grip, and it handles really well, I must say. A part of it might be because it's not putting much power down, but even so, even respecting it might not be putting much power down, there is just a lot of grip. Yeah, that thing is massive in comparison. Let's throw this down anyway. My guy likely won't survive the fall, but... Oh my, the engine exploded. Didn't have enough protection up the front there. Yeah. The car just didn't last. it broke apart, but that's not too surprising. As I say, this is a unitary construction. If I can find where the vehicle is, it's a unitary construction. It's all just one thing. Once I've put it together, the roof will add a lot of stiffness, whereas this, it has a separate frame underneath, and that is where a lot of the stiffness comes from. As this middle chamber as well adds some stiffness around the drive shaft. So although the overall core of this car may be reasonably stiff, there's a lot of bits that are not. Still, with this, I'm going to call it an end to this stream today, and I'll say goodbye until another day.